It was going so well, wasn't it?
I thought you were pulling my. I thought you were pulling my. I thought you were.
It'll ready when you are, Mr. DeMille.
Yeah, I thought you were pulling my leg then. I really did.
No, I really wish I was, but I'm not.
Okay. Far away.
I'd like to just slightly change the order and add a couple. So just fly with me, okay?
Sure.
Right. And so you're going to come to the end of the report, and you're going to say it's the end of the report. And I'm going to say, thank you very much, Simon, and certainly we learnt a lot of new topics. And thank you very much, Simon, and certainly. Thank you very much, Simon, and certainly we learnt a lot of new information in that, and like to think exclusive information as well. Simon, the most basic question, what does all this mean generally first for South African people in the retail industry?
The way I look at you're talking with Walmart coming into the South African market, I take it, yes?
Yeah, let's start it again. Let's start it again because you're right. No. Before we get to Walmart, we're coming out of the research of your report, which isn't specific to Walmart, is it?
No.
So we're coming out of what do we learn from this report? I think maybe
okay.
ask the question.
Okay. What do we learn about this report? Well, what we learn about what we have learned.
I've got to ask the question.
Oh, sorry.
Because I'd like to get it in one bit of consciousness.
Okay.
So here we go, and I'm going to clap this time. Right, thank you very much for that report, Simon, and I think we've all learned something new from it. But it talks about the position overseas. What specifically would you say are the main things that South Africans can learn from learning about this report?
Well, I mean, the obvious thing that stands out for me, really, at this stage, is that South Africa aren't in the play when it comes to global retailing, up until very recently. You know, South America are playing, China are playing, Europe are playing. You know, the world globally has been dealing with international players entering its domain for a while. In South Africa, it hasn't happened as yet. It's happening now. So that's the first thing I think one could say about the question. Regarding the anxieties that South Africans may have about this report, I think there are good things and bad things. You know, I mentioned the fact that Walmart have been into countries and had to leave because they haven't been successful. They've read the markets wrong. So have Carrefour, so have Tesco. So they've also done very well in certain countries, and those are countries where they've tended to partner with the right players that have looked at them very carefully, and it's worked. But they haven't gone in. You know, Walmart, as an example, is number one global player, but it's number one global player because it sits in the biggest market in the world, the United States. That's its base. When it started there, how it's grown, how it's evolved. It's been that core base that has got it to the size of where it is. That has significantly helped it along the way. Now, what's tended to happen with entry of these global players into these markets, they've done 4 or 5 years of research, gone in, and in some cases still made fundamental mistakes about the consumers in those markets. There are consumer differences even between the United States and the United Kingdom. You would think both English-speaking Northern Hemisphere countries that are relatively closely linked, they talk to each other just about these days, and they would have similar shopping habits. They don't. So there's a lot to learn, and the way I make this point is Walmart have entered the market now. They haven't got all the answers. Massmart will be teaching Walmart more than Walmart will be teaching Massmart. And that's where I see a process of lots of learning still to take place. Have I answered?
Who should be scared about Walmart coming into South Africa?
In my opinion, nobody should be scared if they are serious about their business and are doing well in their business. Walmart is going to lift the bar. It's going to, it's bringing in healthy competition, but it's not going to change the league table overnight. Massmart's position in the league table as far as market share goes is still going to have the same market share. ShopRite, Pick n Pay, Metro Cash and Carry, they've all got to up the level of customer service that they have to give the market, and that's how it tends to work when a player like Walmart comes in. If I give the UK as an example, because that's a pretty good example. Walmart went in there a few years ago and they bought Asda 100%. Now Asda have been in the number 2 slot for quite a few years. They were number 3, they got over Sainsbury into number 2. And Tesco have always been number 1 for the last 4 decades. But what's interesting is that hasn't changed. If anything now, Sainsbury are chasing Asda for that number 2 slot, and it's still very much the same. But what Walmart have done in buying Asda is they've brought in a standard that's jacked everybody up, and it's improved the business overall in terms of retail standards and retail delivery to customers.
Okay, so we've got something to say then to somebody from one of the large retail groups in Africa, but what about the corner shop guy? Some people say that the arrival of the big international groups, any of them, can spell death to them. Is there a way to turn this round to an advantage, or does it not necessarily need to be a death sentence?
Well, a corner shop survives. A corner shop, if he's surviving against Pick n Pay and he's surviving against ShopRite and he's surviving against Massmart, he's going to survive against Walmart because he's surviving because he's got a unique service to offer. So he's not surviving against Pick n Pay and against ShopRite because he's got better prices. So he's surviving, Paul, because his service, his value equation, his services are broad, and people are going to shop there because he's well positioned. They like him. He's doing things unique to his particular base of customers that they can't do. And Walmart is I know I speak about Walmart getting into the small store concept, and that's very true, that they are, and the big players are very much looking at these small store concepts. But uniqueness in a small store concept is something the small guy has got to work as hard as the larger guys in ensuring he keeps that uniqueness, keeps focusing on his customer base, and keeps doing those things right. And then Walmart, again, it will enhance his relationship with his clients, and it will continue to flourish. It's not about trying to outprice anybody here. It's about giving the service. Walmart are very much a price-driven business. Yes, they have services, but there are businesses in the USA where Walmart are very much the king that do much better than Walmart because they go that extra mile on service. I can talk about Kmart, I can talk about Publix, I can talk about lots of other companies that do exceptionally well where there's Walmarts nearby.
Okay, we're going to stop tape now for you because that's 9 minutes. And
Okay.
That's bloody good, by the way.
Okay.
Dynamic. So stop tape.